It's time for another Dice Tower review with Tim Jennette.
Hey everyone, this is Tim Jennette, the Metal Meeple, and in this video we're taking a look at a small dice game called Ninja Dice, published by Greenbrier Games in 2013, designed by Rocco Privatera. It's for 2 to 5 players, takes about 30 minutes, and basically one player is going to be a ninja sneaking through a residence or house or whatever you want to call it, village, and he's trying to complete different objectives and get as much money as possible. Unfortunately for him, all the other players are rolling dice at you as well, and the dice are kind of like a miniatures game where the facing and positions matter on the table, so everybody rolls at the same time. The other players are trying to steal money from other people and roll these hourglasses, because you can press your luck as much as you want, but once there's 4 hourglasses, your turn's done. You get nothing because you were captured and you weren't a good ninja. But let me show you all the components, we'll talk about how it's played, and I'll come back and I'll tell you what I think. Ninja Dice comes with this cool little pouch. It's going to contain all the components of the game, including the rules. It's got all these money right here. You've got 3 different denominations: copper, silver, and gold. You have the active player's dice, which are, he's the ninja. He's going to roll these dice on his turn to try to beat or sneak or whatever he wants to do to get past this house dice. These house dice are rolled to generate basically what you need to in order to finish that stage. Each other player on your turn, however, is going to receive one of these threat dice, which they'll roll at the same time to try to steal money from you or end your turn to get you captured by rolling these hourglasses. So the game begins by giving each player 3 copper coins. The player who watched a ninja movie last is going to be the active player, in which he's going to get these 5 ninja dice. The player to your right is going to roll these 4 black house dice to generate what you need to go through. So there are locks in which need to be picked. There are residents in which they need to be fought or sneak past. The guards need to be fought or sneak past as well. Some of the sides have double symbols. The player to your right is going to roll these 4 dice and put them off to the side, in which we have 2 residents and 2 guards. But let's mix it up and say we got a lock pick, or a lock and a guard. The active player is going to hand out 1 threat die to each other player that's in the game. So if it's a 4-player game, he's going to hand out 1 to this player, 1 to this player, and 1 to this player. The 4th threat dice is put to the side. And then everybody's going to pick up their dice, or die. On the count of ready, ninja, roll, everybody's going to roll in the middle of the table. The reason you roll in the middle of the table is because the facing and everything matter on some of the sides. The first thing that happened is arrows are going to allow that player who rolled it to steal from another player that it targets. If this orange die was rolled right here, this line is up and down like this, it's going to hit all these dice from here over. So he could target any of those dice. So in this case we've got green. Green can actually target the active player, which is black, the red player, or the blue player, unless a player has rolled a catch arrow symbol. The catch arrow, it looks like this. If they rolled this symbol, they negate the ability to be stolen from, and then you just skip them. Once everybody is in order of stealing money from each player, let's say green stole from the active player, so he's going to lose 1 of his 3 copper to that player. Then the hourglasses are put aside. The reason these hourglasses are important is because the active ninja only has so many rounds to try to sneak or fight his way past this house. Once all 4 of the threat dice have hourglasses, he is captured and can receive no money for that turn. So that's very important, since you only have 3 turns in the game basically. Each player, you play 3 rounds, each player gets 1 turn each round. So in this case we got 2 hourglasses, you put those off to the side, they can no longer be targeted. The active player is going to spin these dice on these house dice to try to complete them, so we can remove this for now. You have a bunch of different symbols here. First we have sneaks, which are invisibility. You can sneak or past guards or residents. You can also fight the guards and residents with these ninja stars. The locks can pick the locks, or lockpicks can pick the locks. You have a wild symbol, which represents fight, sneak, or lockpick. And then you have a fortune. The fortune is just like the arrows. They can only target 1 of the active player's die that's on that side. So in this case, he could target the ninja star or the wild or that ninja star. Let's just say he didn't have this ninja star. So those two things. Obviously, he would pick the wild because he can make it one of any 3 symbol, but let's say that wasn't there and he had to pick this. What that does is amplify that symbol to 4. Instead of being worth 1, it is now worth 4. You put those off to the side. So in this case, he can apply it to there. It's really good when you roll multiple symbols. You know, if you had rolled, 3 guards, you could amplify this and complete that. He could also sneak, say he's going to use that as a sneak and sneak past that guy. And let's say he didn't roll anything else to allow him to pick this lock. At this time, he has to decide if he's going to continue or press his luck. If he presses his luck, he picks up the dice that he did not want to keep and hands out a threat die to the other player, to the other players. Each player doesn't have to receive a threat dice or a die, so he's going to pass it to this player and this player. The 4th player is not going to receive one for this round. And then everybody's going to roll. Ready, ninja, roll. Say it was like this. The orange player is going to steal from one of the players this way, which is pretty much the active player. So he's down to 1. We rolled another hourglass, which he is getting very pressed on time now. And the last thing is he can just spin. Well, he didn't actually roll a wild, but let's just say he did and he completed it. At that point, his turn's over. Or he chooses to stop because if one more hourglass is rolled, which there are 2 hourglass symbols on each threat die, so it's pretty likely, he can just quit and take what he gets. So let's say he did not complete it, and this is what he rolled. In this case, the active player is going to receive 1 copper for every die that he completes. Since this is 4 symbols and it only has 3, he's going to receive 2 for that and 1 for this. Had he actually completed the whole stage, basically, he receives 1 for this, and you get a bonus of 1, or well, you get a bonus of whatever round it is. So the first round, when there's 4 dice, you're going to get a bonus of 1. And on the second round, when everybody's rolling 5 house dice, you're going to get a second bonus, and then the third dice if you're a third bonus if you're rolling all 6 dice or whatever. If you choose, or if you can, complete the stage basically with sneaking past all the guards and residents instead of fighting anyone, you also get another bonus of +1. Once you're done, you're going to pass the active player dice to the player to your left, and the player to that player's right, which is now you, is going to roll 4 dice to generate the new house for that player, and they're going to take their turn just the same. They're going to roll the 5 ninja dice. All the other players are going to roll the threat dice to try to thwart them, and then they're going to collect money and so on and so forth. At the end of that round, you start a new round where everybody's rolling 5 dice. Each player gets a turn, and then 6 dice. Each player gets a turn. And at the end of all that, whoever has the most money is the best ninja. Let's see what I think. There we go. That's Ninja Dice, and this is pretty fun. I will say that it's just a really engaging game because such other dice games like Zombie Dice and stuff like that, I love that pressure luck style game, and in this one the pressure luck's coming from other players. You know, I can roll, but they get to roll, and they can stop me, and they can steal my money. So it's kind of like, how far do I want to go? You know, you got to calculate those odds or take that risk or whatever. It's pretty fun. I think the expansion I have yet to play adds a little bit more depth to it, but as far as just the base game, I think it's fantastic. It's really quick. It does live up to the 30 minutes, even with a full complement of 5 players. It's just really fast. The only problem, it has one problem which kind of shows up in miniatures games where positions really matter and people barely touching a die and they freak out and they're like, no, if you wouldn't have touched that, then it would have been facing that way, you know, because we use the rule book as like a guide to put up against one of the arrows or fortune dice and say, okay, it's obviously in the plane, but you accidentally move one and people are like, no, that wasn't touching now, you know, stuff like that. So if you play it with normal people that aren't crazy about these rules, I mean, it is a small little dice game. It's not as big of a deal. Other than that, though, I mean, there's really not a lot of issue. I think that maybe there is a lot of luck on how your house is generated because you can literally get a really difficult house compared to somebody else, even rolling 6 dice. Somebody can roll 6 dice and give you 6 different symbols, 1 on each die. Somebody else can roll the die and give you 2 symbols on all the dice, and now you got to complete 12. Is that fair? I don't know. It's only a 30-minute game, so it's really not that big of a deal, and I think the expansion kind of solves a little bit of that, so take that with a grain of salt. The expansion's rather cheap. It's a small little locations deck that you flip out before, but maybe I'll review that after I play it. So anyway, I definitely recommend this game. It's got a cool little bag. Normally I'm against games that come in very odd shaped containers such as this, but this is kind of like the same as like Love Letter or something. It comes in a little pouch. That's cool. I just think it's really neat. If it came in a box, I'd be just as happy, but this is super cool. Look at that, pretty cute. Yeah, I said cute. Anyway, if you have any questions, feel free to email me at timjennette@gmail.com or follow me on any of my social media down below. And until next time, keep on rocking, rolling dice.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at coolstuffinc.com.